Wanna futuristic mobile tank and go rampage everywhere you can? Well, I've got the game for you. That title is called Granada, and here your dear Araknie will tell you why this one is worth playing. This is Wolf's Team best work, even from a story standpoint, because you get to the far future of 2016, where mechs are now warring machines. The original setting of Africa has been manipulated to create multiple civil wars in most of the countries. Now, that would be something if somebody did it. Surprisingly, you are not a contracted mercenary, but just a person that every time there's conflict you come down to Earth from space and liberate the people. That's incredible, some mystery is needed sometimes. That's basically all the story you need. I think they had a base to adapt a classic parable, got very close, but then Wolf Team remembered that they were in the era of loving text scrolls, so they went with that instead. Not a too interesting presentation. Fortunately, they saved everything for the gameplay, with some missteps, but they finally did it. They did a great game! This is a top-down shooter where you drive the aforementioned vehicle. In a strange twist, this game only uses the A and the C buttons. The first one to normally shoot, and then the second one to get a bigger charge bullet that also gives you a bit of pushback. The last part will be important later. It controls great by the way of D-pad if you're wondering, and you can also get upgrades in the levels and they stack and also carry over when you're dead. But unfortunately they don't carry over from level to level, you get stranded back from the beginning. Why? What was the point of leaving with all that I collected? No point. Deal with it. And the stages themselves are very varied. You might get a big open field or an intricate labyrinth. Sometimes you might be up high in the air. And that's where you need to be careful because this game is brutal. Too brutal. If you fall, you lose a life. Considering you get 3 lives and 3 continues, that's just too much. I managed by the skin of my teeth here. Lost 2 continues in my successful run, so that felt truly tense. I thought I was at the end by the time stage 6 rolled in, but there are 9 of them. You will feel like every stage is adding new elements, but the game goes beyond that. They do a new set of enemies each time. And here comes an easy way to lose lives and all your continues. You get on in this level of high looking pits and high stakes, and there's another tank that is a pushy one. Doesn't do much damage, but you can get thrown around by them. Gotta learn the board and kill them before they reach you. That's not ideal for a game of supposed skill. My biggest disappointment is every time there was a pit and enemies near them. They've got even places where the breeze explode and also that has pushback. And now you see why having a secondary shot where you get recoil is not good. Gotta remember not to use it in certain places or you'll be dooming yourself. Real cheeky of them, and I say cheeky, but I mean that they're bastards. But I like that you got a new set of rivals per stage, completely new, with new weapons each time. That is a lot of work for developers if you don't know. It helped me going through it since I understood by the time level 4 rolled out that you can see new challenges coming along your way. Plus the bosses, all of them have a different way to get them to die. They will use all your abilities. You might need to learn how to ricochet, or when not to shoot. Those are very unique objectives for bosses from 1990 on the dot. Very fun that this got all this care put into it. But you're gonna get a very frustrating experience if you're not willing to experiment. And you'll need to do that if you wanna see any real game here, since the art style is probably its biggest weak point. So many things blend together the fast you move. And this is the most clean Mega Drive Wolf Team game. If you follow this channel you know how bad they can get in the art department. Here at least I can see if I move slow. You risk ending your timer, but at least you can avoid certain death by falling. And now to describe the look of it. It's basically a bit of retro-futuristic vibes. Lots of robot designs are clearly inspired by the 70s era big robot Japanese shows, while the levels and the backgrounds have an enormous amount of lights of multiple colors going on and off. It's clearly a game that started development in 1988 and took 2 years to release in an era where 9 months were good enough for any non-RPG title. It barely looks like a 16-bit game, that's what I'm trying to say. It barely looks like a 16-bit game, that's what I'm trying to say. Musically instead, it's Motoi Sakuraba's best work on this console, that's for sure. The samples are especially clean this time around. You're gonna enjoy listening to the drums and bass in particular because they stand out in the best possible ways. I'm seriously impressed, but most especially I liked how consistently more desperate it got further along. Frantic, anxious, the music has more wild parts that quickly riff off each other. A bit of that Final Fantasy VI style, but 3 years earlier. That's really surprising. So, I finally found a Wolf Team game to be great. And that game had to be Granada. This had to be the one to get an 8 out of 10. The title that is one of the most obscure ones of all time considering it got a boxed release. A classic to be honest for my experience. When a game I like isn't super famous, it's always something nobody remembers anymore. No middle road exists with me. Here they forgot to make the background readable in some levels and also movement makes you fly off the stages, but you can adjust to this stuff. Other times you wouldn't have gotten this kind of luxury. If you wanna see me play the games that I will review plus some extra stuff, catch me on Twitch at Araknie Retro. It's my natural habitat, you see. Until next time, ciao ciao!